This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Hey, ghosts, ghouls, goblins, vampires, and zombies. We have a special Halloween episode for you. Today's guest is a three-peat offender, and I'm speaking of none other than Spencer Charnas, lead vocalist for the Boston, Massachusetts heavy metal band Ice Nine Kills. Together, we hang, hack, slash, and kill our way through the slash hit single, a work of art that was featured in the massive 2024 blockbuster film Terrifier 3. Ice Nine Kills perfectly blends heavy metal with blast beats, growls, screams, and odd noises into a cinematic audio symphony. These are insane productions, helped along by longtime producer Wizard Blood, as well as Morgoth Beats, who co-produced the track. There's more twists and turns in this tune, the most since, well, the last time I had Spencer on to talk about one of his songs. I think he's one of the most interesting songwriters going right now, perfectly blending his love of horror films with his love for extreme heavy music. The band has had an amazing 2025, securing the opening slot on Metallica's M72 World Tour, making thousands of new fans along the way. So lock your doors, set your alarms, and prepare for a work of art.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast.
All right, Spencer, we were talking before we started rolling here, but I'm going to say this to the listeners. Unless you've been living under a rock the last year, you had to have heard of Ice Nine Kills, one of, I'm going to just say it, one of the bigger bands out there right now. You spent the last part of this year out with Metallica. It doesn't get much bigger than that. It also seems like every one of my friends who has teenagers, you're like their favorite band right now. I'm proud to be your friend. I'm glad you're back for the third time.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I love the show. You know, I love Less Than Jake, and I love this world of music that you come from, and that really inspired what the band does now. You know, although it's dressed in blood and blast beats, we wear that influence of punk and ska, and very very proudly on our bloody sleeves.
No, I love it. You're one of the heaviest bands ever that has taken out a horn section and displays them proudly during the show.
Absolutely, and I got a lot of pride in and when we did that tour with Metallica. You know, we brought out the horn section. We brought out, Johnny Christmas and Matt from Real Big Fish, and I'm pretty sure that's like the only time like a band with horns has opened up for Metallica. And I could see James; he was getting into it. He always fist bumped Johnny Christmas, and
Yeah.
there's a great video of us like I think on one of our last shows with Metallica. James was out there really getting ready to watch us play and gave us all a big hug, and someone grabbed that great moment on their cell phone cameras, and it's just great. And I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad you like the song.
Yeah, well, my mother was just here visiting, and I was she just left earlier this morning. But as I was preparing for this episode the past couple days, I said I'm going back down to work. Oh, what are you working on? I got my buddy coming on the podcast, and I told her about you, and I was trying to like explain, and I finally just had to play her the track. I'm like, this guy is on another level, mom. And my mom thinks I'm the greatest because I'm her son, and she may beg to differ, but I told her, I said, Mom, I couldn't think in terms of this guy mixes cinematic theater with heavy music, and it is insane. And with that said, we got to get into this song. It's 4 minutes of insanity, and much like all of your songs, this one was once again produced by Drew Falk, who is known professionally as Wizard Blood. Drew's done a ton of stuff: 21 Pilots, A Day to Remember, Knock Loose, Lil Wayne, etc. But I also noticed that Morgoth Beats, who's the guitarist for the band Winds of Plague, he is also credited as producer on this. So how'd that come about?
It's kind of a wild concoction of a bunch of different people. We've worked with Drew for the last couple albums, and we work so well with him. And I think what he loves about us is that we're a bit fearless. We like to push the boundaries and take those left turns that you'll see in this song. So he was a huge part of it. Joe, our bassist, he comes from a band that some people might remember from like about 10 years ago called the Venetia Fair, which was like a really crazy, almost piano chaotic Converge meets Foxy Shazam kind of band. And when I was writing a certain part of this song, I noticed that I felt like it had a System of a Down kind of influence to it with that harmonic minor sort of melody.
Right.
And Shavo, the bassist from System of a Down, we had gotten to know him a little bit. He was a fan of the band, and we were a fan of his band, and he would watch us like side stage on different various festivals and stuff. And we also knew this guy Morgoth, who is in one of Shavo's bands, and we kind of got in touch with them, and we're like, this song has shades of that System influence. Would you guys like to come into the fold and play on the track and get in that mix? And I think it's so cool to be able to work on a song and realize, hey, this band is clearly influencing this part of the song. Let's get the actual guy from the band to be on the track.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of came about, and I'm just really excited about how it turned out. And yeah, that's the story with Shavo.
I lied a second ago. I said we were going to jump into this, but I'm glad you brought that up. And now I got to bring up, was the song a work of art? Was it a standalone composition, or was it written specifically for the film Terrifier 3?
I've always been a huge fan of back in the 80s and 90s, and you play a part of this history of rock and metal being involved in horror movies. Obviously, you guys, had the closing, the opening closing credits, if you would call it, in Scream 2.
Sure.
I loved, things like when Alice Cooper did a song for, Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, when one of the Nightmare on Elm Street's Dokken did DreamWorks. So I've always been such a fan of when rock and metal and horror movies collided. And I thought we sort of lost the plot with that, in the 2000s a little bit. But by the time you get to, 2020s, like that really doesn't happen too much anymore. So I've been a big fan of the Terrifier franchise. I've gotten to know those guys, Damien, who created and directed, really brilliant guy, David, who plays Art the Clown, various actors from it. And we started to run into each other at these horror conventions that I do. And we really noticed, me and Damien, that, hey, there's a big crossover between Ice Nine Kills fans and fans of Art the Clown Terrifier. We would see Terrifier shirts in our line to meet us at our shows, and they would see a lot of Ice Nine Kill shirts in their lines to meet them.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it seemed like, wow, there's really something here. And I always try to keep my ear to the street with our fans, and people are like, man, when are you going to do a Terrifier? We need an Art the Clown song.
I mean, you've taken, not to play off the song title, you've taken your art. I mean, you're pushing the boundaries, and that's what's so cool about it. I mean, you think about movies and rock. I mean, maybe the first name will come up as Zombie, Rob Zombie. And I've always said, whether you like his music or not, he's worked because he's real, man. He's passionate like you. He loves gore. He loves slasher flicks, as you do, but you've taken it in just such a theatrical, cinematic way, and you've now you're bringing that to the stage with your productions. It is so cool. But again, this song's 4 minutes long. We got to get into this thing, or we're going to be here all day, Spencer.
I'll talk to you all day, Chris. Let's
I'll
go.
talk to you all day too. I don't know if the listeners will tune in all
Probably
day.
not.
The intro, creepy, suspenseful synth for about 3 bars. When the vocals kick in, a higher synth comes in. We start off basically with the chorus here, but it's a half chorus.
Tongue-tied in your tariff.
The art of dying brings me to life. Death by design. Tongue-tied, and you're terrified.
Well, it's poetry, right?
It is.
Oh, yeah. That was one of those things where when we were working on the song initially, like we always do, I usually just use like stream of consciousness, like whatever sounds great to sing, right? And I kept going towards dying brings me to life. And as soon as I put that down, I was like, that's it. And then when we went back to actually write the lyrics, which I always do with Steve Sopchak, he's like our longtime fifth member of the band, so to speak.
Yes.
I had the idea, well, we need some sort of lead into that line. And then it was just like out of nowhere, it's like the art of dying brings me to life. You get that play on words, you get sort of that feeling, because if you watch those movies, Art the Clown, obviously influenced by the Godfathers, the Mount Rushmore of slashers like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. He treats his kills like works of art, and he almost makes museum pieces out of the carnage. So that seemed like the right line to start the song with and to make the main hook. I know that when we were playing with that, the tongue tied and you're terrified.
Yeah.
Drew is a master at really elevating the song with his drum programming. And I said something, and like he's one of those kind of producers, as good producers do. No, repeat that and kind of stutter it. And then he played off that with the drum beat, and we were like, dude, that's it, because you have this soaring hook juxtaposed to this kind of syncopated thing, and together it just when sometimes it just like clicks and like, well, okay, that feels like that might be magic.
Oh, yeah. Well, and as we comb through this, I'll ask again at certain points. But what I'm amazed is if I sat down with an acoustic guitar and tried to give someone a run through with this song, it's impossible. Okay.
Yeah.
I could maybe strum the chorus and get away with a line or two, but there's bars here of synth noise and stuff. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around, here you have a song that's linear that you wrote. Now you're in the studio, like, is Drew saying to you, hey, wait, right here, in between this heavy mosh groove, after this, we're going to go to 2 bars and we're going to have a horn honk of a clown nose happen, which happens later, we're going to get to. Where does that come from? Is that spur of the moment, or is this all in your head where is it already mapped out?
Well, when you talk about things like the left turns that we're talking about, out of nowhere things, we knew that and we got the blessing from Terrifier. We knew that like Damien was down with us doing this. He wanted us to do the song. We pitched it to him and he was like, I love the idea. Even before he heard a bar of it, he just trusted me, which I'm so grateful with. But when you're coming into a project like this where you know the character, you know how chaotic this movie is, we thought about especially parts like the breakdown, which is complete madness, as how is this going to look in the music video? How are we going to make a movie out of these parts? So when you get to parts, and I'm sure we'll touch on this when we get to breakdown, but just for instance, like the crazy chaotic part with the piano
Yeah.
actually was birthed out of an idea. Well, and also like that slap bass part. What if during the video when we're playing live, Art kills various members of the band, takes the bass, does a slap piece, and then all of a sudden he's on a piano with the Ray Charles glasses, and that's how we kind of did those really wild sort of out of the box moments. In terms of the synth stuff, I really have to give it up. But I don't forget, Paul Wiley is an incredibly talented film composer who does the Terrifier franchise. So he was kind enough for us to base, some of those lead lines of the that's all sort of an homage to his score, which then we took to our guy Francesco Farini, which perfect composer name. This Italian composer. He's in a band called Flesh God Apocalypse. This
Oh
keeps
my
getting better.
gosh, they are the heaviest band ever. Oh my
Incredible.
gosh. Incredible. Did we talk about them?
I feel like he must have come up because he does all of the symphonic work on our music.
I thought maybe I talked to another guest. It had to have been you, but my gosh, what a heavy, amazing band.
Amazing band, and one of the greatest feelings ever is when we send Francesco a demo of the song and we wait to hear what he does with it back, and then we just listen to just the orchestral arrangements and piano stuff, and it's just like it's magic. It's basically like sending your song to me like a Marco Beltrami or a John
Yeah.
Williams, like, okay, interpret this, interpret that melody, and you're just blown away.
Well, in terms of hooks, I talk about all the time. You're waiting for that chorus hook, but there are hooks everywhere in this song. We get it right off the top here with this intro chorus. The art of dying brings me to life, death by design. Those first two lines are kind of blown out, distant, distorted vocals. Tongue-tied and you're terrified. It's whispered. But when you get to terrified, it's this insane, just guttural growl, just layered vocals into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the guitar's going dun 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 dun, go. And that dun 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 dun, those stereo guitars happen a number of times. It's like a theme within this song. Such a great hook. After that go, it goes into super fast drums, bass, stereo guitars, and an octave guitar. I call this a NoFX punk part for 2 bars. It's awesome. And then we get into verse 1.
In your tariff. No one rakes it out alive. Split the canvas open wide. Don't you dare say you're dead. Miles Crowley's painted red.
These unison hits here in this first verse, they remind me that someone's getting hacked or slashed with a knife. John, 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 John. It's it's such like it gives me a visual when I hear that part, and we get that on the first line. No one makes it out alive. We get those 6 hits. Hey, split the canvas open wide. Don't you dare say art is dead. No, Miles County's painted red.
Yeah, I love the puns. I love plays on words, and that's something that we always strive for with the lyrics. Things like split the canvas open wide, as we talked about, Art uses his murder to create his museum, so to speak. And when I said split the canvas open wide, that is a direct reference to, in the first film, if you've seen it or if you have the stomach for it, he hangs an actress who's a very good friend of mine that's actually in the work of art video, Catherine Corcoran. He hangs her upside down and he splits her in half with a hacksaw through her vagina. So, yeah, it's interesting. So as I said, poetry.
Well, my mother also liked the it's a pun right from the beginning, a work of art. She thought that was clever. But those hits, sometimes we forget as musicians that sometimes the simplest things, all the band hitting at once, jun 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 jun. But man, that part is so heavy. That hey is panned off right, as is the no in this verse. Is that Chavo doing that? I can't tell if it's a woman or if it's a higher registered man's voice.
That might have been me or it might have been Joe. And I think we were just going for that circus kind of chaotic, almost, as I said before, that sort of System of a Down, chop suey, kind of frantic, hands in the air kind of a vibe there, and panned it off to sort of exacerbate that influence.
Well, we get this screamed layered vocal along with the lead on No One Makes It Out Alive and Don't You Dare Say Art is Dead. And on the lines, split the canvas open wide and Miles, countries painted red. We get harmonies with those lines, which is interesting. Takes us right into pre-chorus 1. Celebrating, mutilating, born from suffering.
Yeah, for that part, I sort of was really channeling in terms of the melody, like, Blink recycling kind of stuff from the Dude Ranch era of putting those two words together. And I get a real kick out of trying to make pretty catchy melodies with the most disturbing kind of words I could sort of clunk together. And that was another part when we did it. I don't think those particular words changed from just that sort of stream of consciousness of what words sound great, because I knew we were going to be talking about Terrifier, mutilating, celebrating mutilating. It doesn't really, we couldn't find anything better than that.
I mean,
And
that's a funny lyric to me. You're celebrating mutilating.
yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about your mom kind of hearing the song and stuff. My dad does not like the gore stuff. He appreciates, catchy melodies and when we write a good song. But one of the greatest compliments he gave me was when he heard this song. He said, "Whether I like it or not, Spencer, you have captured the chaos of that movie." And I haven't even seen it, but I've seen pictures and I know what you're doing here. And that was the idea from the beginning. You mentioned like those really violent syncopated hits. That's what we were trying to get across, because that character is so vicious and at the same time so sadistic for smiling all the way through it.
I love it, man. Your dad doesn't really get it, but he's so damn proud of his son. Good for
You're right.
Good for him. On the word mutilating, it's kind of like a distorted vocal there. We get this crazy low harmony on "Born from Suffering," and then there's great stereo guitars after the line "mutilating." I call it the Bill and Ted moment. It's like it's like this
Yeah.
quick little high riff. I think that's so cool. Octave guitars are layered here as well, and after "Born from Suffering," we get a swirly synth and a filtered drum fill. And as that drum fill's happening, we hear the art of. And then we hit the chorus. The chorus, actually, the downbeat hits on "Dying." The art of dying brings me to life. Death by design. I'm tongue-tied and you're terrified now. Dying brings me to life. Their blood won't dry. I'm tongue-tied and you're terrified. Tongue-tied and you're terrified. I think I did 5.
A lot of.
I was going to ask you about that. You said you sang that. It sounds like there's an effect on it, or he chopped it up. It sounds frantic.
It's sort of emphasized by some really cool harmonics on the guitar that Drew put in there. When we were doing that kind of, it almost had like a David Draymond from the Disturbed kind of vibe, where he does a lot of that and that kind of syncopation of the vocal with the instrumental. And in terms of the lyrics and the hook, I remember you're talking about Feldman. Whenever I work with him, we always talk about, don't put too many goddamn words in there. I think he said to me once that I think it was Tom Wally or someone, some big music industry guy told him one time, "John, the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round and round." So I think as we progress as songwriters and try to make things stick, we try to repeat as much as we can with it still being interesting lyrically, and that's what we try to do here.
Well, yeah, and I want to say I said this about one of the other tracks we talked about on here. I can't recall if it was Hip to Be Scared or which one, but the chorus of your songs, there is kind of a central theme that ties this all together. If the chorus was as frantic as the rest of this, I don't know if anyone could be able to handle it. It might be too much, but the chorus is where I can, how do I say this? It's kind of like the casual music fan can sink their teeth into the chorus, maybe not the rest of it. And this part's great. We get a harmony on "Dying Brings Me to Life," and the second time on "Dying Brings Me to Life." This is the first full chorus of the song. It's the second chorus. We get a half chorus at the top. Drums, bass, stereo guitars, synths are all in on this halftime groove. The drums are very staccato and super punchy. You were just talking about the drum production on this. It is very punchy. They're in your face, but they're moving. They don't sound lazy at all. There's no point in this where it sounds like it's lagging. It's just taking your head off.
Yeah, again, to the drum stuff, I have to give credit to Drew. He's become such a force in the world of rock music. With I think he like celebrated like something like crazy, like 20th or 30th number one rock, like active rock song.
I know.
But when he gets to work with us, I think it's like a nice, refreshing thing because we're not sitting there going, how do we get this song on the fucking radio? We're saying, how do we do something that's going to make people and our fans be like, what the fuck is going on here in a cool way? And he has that really death metal, metalcore, hardcore upbringing. Those are the bands that he grew up loving. Like, even like when you think of bands like a Despised Icon or something, he has fun with us because like, man, we could do a crazy blast beat after this really
Yeah.
chaotic thing into a vocal hook. So he's sort of the perfect mix for us, no pun intended, mix that he has. Yes, these pop sensibilities where he knows when a hook is great and how to make it better, but also he loves that good technical side of metal, and having him help us intertwine the two is really cool to see and watch in real time because he's so fast when he can
Yeah.
turn one idea into 10 different ideas, and we just pick, okay, that's the one to go with.
Sure, and I'm sure he picks his spots. There's some projects where he can't take chances like this. You're the kind of band that can. Hey, if it could put this crazy part in, Spencer's probably gonna like it or be able to wrap his head around it. A couple more things in this chorus. On the line, Death by Design and Their Blood Won't Dry. Those vocals are a different texture. They're kind of distorted from the rest of them. A little push back. After Terrified on I'm Tongue Tied and You're Terrified, before the stutter, we get that harmonic noise that's with the stutter there of that guitar. It's so good. And then You're Terrified. While that's by itself, we get on the right, junt, junt, and then we get 3 junt, junt, junts on the left of guitars, and then we get na 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 na, that guitar riff again into go. And then we're in the no effects punk part again for 2 bars. And now we're in verse 2. Hacking all what's near and dear. All hope is gone. If art was here, drawn to torture.
This was a really fun verse to get into. One of Art's signatures is that he writes "Art was here" on a lot of the different murder scenes. So I knew I wanted to infuse that into the lyrics somehow. So that was really cool. Anytime for me you can get a nod into the real hardcore fans of a franchise is something really beautiful to me because I know that I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then on second verses for, if you look back at our catalog, I think all the way back to probably like 2015-ish, like our album Every Trick in the Book, we always tried to provide some sort of left turn move in the second verse, so that kind of comes out of nowhere, and it could be sort of a standard kind of beat, and then it goes into something heavy. And we wanted that moment right there. That's when we go into that like death metal part. Also on this song, it was fun for me to explore a few different vocal techniques, because usually when I do screaming in the studio, I'm loud as hell and screaming my ass off. But for me to get that really, that's pretty goddamn quiet, and it's all just the technique of compressing it right. So like on parts like this, I was sort of blown away when Drew would play back what I did. I was like, that's what that sounds like. That sounds like a fucking monster. And so that was kind of fun to explore in that specific part.
No, I love that. I've had that happen before where I've recorded stuff, and the way that it's layered and mixed, you're like, I don't think it didn't sound like that to me in my ears, when I was
Yeah.
when I was laying it down. But yeah, the lyrics here are a little bit less than verse 1. And to your point, there's no copy and paste job here. Okay, this is completely different than verse 1. Hacking all what's near and dear. We get those whole band hits again on the second line. All hope is gone if art was here. And both of those lines are huge layered vocals. It sounds like on this line, all hope is gone if art was here. It sounds like System on this line. You know, there's other.
Hope is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is that Chavo singing on that.
No, that's me shaking my head like I would think Serge would sing it. You know,
Oh
all
my!
hope is gone if I was here. Like I did that specifically like that. I think we layered in some really Joe layered in some really operatic harmony to give it that kind of
That's
moment.
so
Yeah.
killer. Well, after the line, all hope is gone if art was here. On that line, there's like this drum ska groove, okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
JR and my band has a term for that. He used to call it super sloppy, super sloppy, super sloppy, super sloppy. Because a lot of guys can't get that part tight. But I like that nod to your past roots of ska. It's just on that one line, and then we get drawn to torture. It's one bar of slow, sludgy monster vocals on that line. It's so heavy. And then right after that, it picks back up. We get 2 bars of na 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 na, followed by 4 more na 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 nas with harmonies on those 4. And on that line, we get the ska beat again and some high, chirpy bells.
Yeah, man. You know, as far as the ska influence, that's the other thing. That's one of the other elements that's always fun to play with the guys and play with Drew on, is because, like, you know, we'll be joking like, how do we get more ska into this part? Like, how do we interject something that might not make any sense here and make it fucking cool? And that was just one of those parts where, you know, Drew would turn around and we'd be doing some like crazy blast beat part, and he'd turn around his chair and say, how do we get more ska in here?
That's hilarious.
And that's just our sort of comic sensibility. You know, we love that kind of music. It's so much fun, and I think it's mixing that style with these like Cookie Monster kind of vocals is emblematic of the spirit, I think, of the movie Terrifier.
Well, and you know, ska music isn't that horns and stuff isn't that far off from circus and clowns and certainly evil clowns. So this kind of all really ties in together.
You take me away to a faraway place.
Hey everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up with Spencer after a few words from our sponsors.
Hey everyone, Chris DeMakes here, and I've got some exciting news. Chris DeMakes a Podcast is now on Patreon. Your support is what keeps this show going, allowing us to bring you deep dives into amazing songs from incredible artists every week. When you join our Patreon at chrisdemakes.com, you'll get instant access to hundreds of episodes of The After Party, our weekly bonus show where producer Chris Fafalius and I talk music history, trivia, tour stories, classic albums, and whatever else comes to mind. Plus, you'll get early ad-free episodes of Krista Makes a Podcast, unedited video versions of each episode, and, of course, a brand new episode of The After Party every single week. If our show brings you a little joy, help us keep it going strong for just a couple bucks a month at chrisdemakes.com. Not ready to commit? No problem. You can sign up for a free membership while you decide. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope to see you all at The After Party.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
And now back to the show.
Right out of verse 2, we get into pre-chorus 2, celebrating, mutilating, born from suffering. Same lyric, but this time we get a different turnaround into what is the second full chorus, but it's chorus 3. On this part, after born from suffering, you hold that out, but it's over a big drum fill this time. The first time it happened, it went to that swirly synth and that kind of drum fill the first time. But this time we change here. We change it up in pre-chorus 2. And then you say the art of, that's over a big drum fill. And then we drop on the downbeat into chorus 3. Same overall instrumentation and lyrics as chorus 1. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I touched on it a little bit ago. I feel like the choruses in this song really hold this, it's kind of like the glue for everything around it being so chaotic. And I like that you didn't change up any lyrics here. I like that there's not more information because there's so much especially the next couple parts that come up.
Yeah, I think that again, it just goes back to us trying to learn how to write better songs and knowing when to give the listener new information because you don't want to overload people. You want them in the best case scenario, I want someone to walk away from the first time hearing one of our songs to at least something stick with them. You know, there are certain songs and certain bands that I love that it takes a ton of repeat listens, as some movies. Like, you know, when I first saw Best in Show, I thought it was really good, but like on subsequent rewatches of a comedic movie like that, you pick up on all the little nuances. It becomes even more amazing. So when we write songs, we really try to subscribe to let's make sure that we can get chaotic here, we can get chaotic here, we could kind of swerve off the road here, but we got to come back to the road in the right parts.
I mean this in the most sincere of ways, but you know, you guys aren't an easy first listen. I mean, there's a lot of information here. You know, to the casual music fan walking through Target, you know, if this comes on,
the hell's going on?
Well, and I've made this joke before. You know, you're not going to hear this song on Acoustic Tuesdays at Applebee's. I mean, you can't play this singing it on acoustic guitar.
Maybe at Fuddruckers, but
maybe at Fuddruckers, but not at Applebee Tuesdays. After chorus 3 on this last line, Spencer, when you say you're terrified, that's a 1-bar full band ring out. And then we get into the first of what I'm calling a musical interlude with a spoken word voiceover. And I want to say last time there was a spoken word in Hip to Be Scared, and I want to say maybe it was Drew. Somebody did it, but who's providing the voiceover here, the police scanner?
Yeah, so we work. This is pretty funny. We work with one specific voice actor a lot, and his name is Carson. And what's funny about him is, you know, we hired him because he's got this great voice. Actually, one of our guitarists, Ricky, just ended up, you know, as his roommate. So that's how we sort of met him. And I heard his voice, and it was incredible. And you know, one night I was in a hotel room after a show, about to go to sleep, and I hear this voice coming from the TV. It's like, wait a second, I know this voice. It was his fucking voice because he does now all of the AMC Welcome to Fear Fest, you know, Michael Myers Monday.
No
He's
way.
that guy that does a ton of different voice acting gigs. You know, you'll hear him on car commercials, as I said, like on horror movie AMC and Walking Dead stuff. And I knew he would nail this perfectly. And you know, horror movies that I love, slasher movies, and especially Terrifier, they use that sort of technique of having a news clip playing, and you know, someone will be in the background not paying attention, and then, you know, they'll be talking about Miles County, that there was this killer, blah blah blah. So we wanted to infuse that part of the movie and make it feel like you were dipping into not just a song, but you were watching the film.
Miles County should be on alert tonight. Police are looking for a man matching the description of the Miles County clown, who's wanted in connection with a series of brutal slayings in 2017 and 18. The suspect was last seen wearing a black and white clown costume. If you see this individual, please contact the police.
I love that. And you couldn't have picked a better voice for this. It sounds so legit and real. It doesn't sound phony. And that's why I asked, was this Drew or somebody? I mean, how do they do that convincingly? It's so good.
And the great thing about when he gives you the voiceover, he gives you 10 different versions of it. So we can piece together, oh, we like that line, we like this line. And I sit there with Joe and like, no, this line, this line, this line. So he gives you this option of different inflections and speeds.
So you got your choices. Well, here's the spoken word for the first musical interlude. I love the change of scenery here, Spencer. I love that we just completely go into another world. And the spoken word is Miles County should be on alert tonight. Police are looking for a man matching the description of the Miles County clown, who's wanted in connection with a series of brutal slayings in 2017 and 18. The suspect was last seen wearing a black and white clown costume. If you've seen this individual, please contact the police. And during this part, we get these creepy synths and assorted electronic drum fills. It's cinematic, takes me back to kind of those cheesy drums in the 80s a little bit, those drum machines. And it also sounds like maybe low registered xylophones are playing here or something. And again, this whole scene change from where we came from, it's unexpected, but it's so cool. And right after this part, we go into another scene change. I love this. It's musical interlude number 2, I'm calling it. Who's singing this part? Because it's a female voice.
So this is another nod to the franchise. In part 2, there's this surreal. You think it's a dream sequence, but you never really find out what's going on because Art sort of has that otherworldly vibe to him. And the lead actress Lauren wakes up basically on like a set of a cheesy like TV show from like the 60s or 70s. And then there's this woman dressed as a clown who comes out, and her name's Leah Voisey, and she sings The Clown Cafe. Welcome to the Clown Cafe. So we got her. She's become a good friend of ours to basically reprise her role as the Clown Cafe singer. And in the movie, it's a very major song.
Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourself a tray, 'cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by.
And we took that, and with Joe's brilliance, we were able to turn it into the minor version of that song with different lyrics, but it is the same pattern, and that was just a lot of fun to play with. I remember this section taking a long time to get right in terms of it feeling natural going from the chorus into this part. We tried a tempo change, we tried a tempo drop. We originally tried to do her part with a major melody, and then it just all kind of clicked together. We're like, we got to make this minor because it's just not going to work. It's going to be too off-putting to come from that minor ending to the major, and it would ruin the mood. So this part took a while to tinker around with, but super excited about how it turned out. And again, the music here is a direct homage to Paul Wiley's score from the franchise.
Welcome to a gallery that you won't ever leave, 'cause nothing is subjective as he stabs and hacks and cleaves. Beauty's in the eye of the beheader for tonight. The devil's in the details and he painted white.
Welcome to a gallery that you won't ever leave, 'cause nothing is subjective as he stabs and hacks and cleaves. Beauty's in the eye of the beheader for tonight. The devil's in the details, and he's painted white.
Man, I have been trying to get the pun "beauty is in the eye of the beheader" into a song or into one of my businesses for like a few years. I've had that pun. Like I have a makeup line. It's like, oh, but that's got to be the tagline here. And when it all came together for this song, it was like, fucking finally. It's like, as a guitarist or a vocalist, like you have a bridge or a really cool riff, and when you finally can insert it into a song in a pivotal place, especially, it's like, fuck yeah, finally.
I think that's amazing. And I'm so glad you said it a moment ago. You're like, we really had to play with this part because honestly, man, I know you work your tail off, but so much of this sounds effortless the way you talk about, oh yeah, Drew came in and we just layered this vocal. Next thing I know, it sounds like this big monster, And I'm glad that you showed you were human here. It's like, yeah, we had a hard time with this part. We're trying to find tempo changes. How does this fit? How does it sit? And we're going to get into some stuff here near the very end before we get into the bridge, which is just otherworldly. It's absolutely insane. But in this musical interlude number 2, on the first couple lines, the kick and snare come in with new synth sounds, complete change of scenery. I wrote that down again. On the line, after Beauty's in the Eye of the Beheader for tonight, the drum groove gets really heavy with staccato hits with stereo guitars and the bass. And on the line, the devil's in the details, and he's painted white. That is by itself when we get 7 rings of a bell during that part. It's really cool placement of that bell. And on that vocal, lots of reverb. It sounds super big and kind of creepy. And right after that, I will say, after painted white, you could have went into the assault that happens next in the bridge, but you guys didn't. You went for one bar of left and right pick slides of guitars. And then you went, then the next thing you hear is, I don't know what it is. I wrote an old bike horn, or, you see in movies where they an old clown car sound, wah, like that honk. How did that come about? I mean, obviously from going back to the movie, but those two bars that happen, the bar of the pick slides and that bike horn, are just so cool and different in a song like this.
Thanks, man. I remember on that part, there we did debate ourselves. Should it be and he's painted white? But I think elongated painted white was the right move. I remember going back and forth about that. It just made it more dramatic.
Yes.
To elongate that. And I also remember there was debate, even, in my own head, should we go right in, or is that pick slide convergy kind of sound cool? And ultimately we went with that. And then, the clown horn just sort of speaks for itself in terms of his character using the horn a few times in the franchise. And again, sort of the idea of the juxtaposition of something as innocent and childlike as a clown's horn, even though clowns are, can be synonymous with evil, clearly, into just a brutal fucking assault.
Well, this is as heavy as you're going to get. I don't care if it's Flesh God, Apocalypse, it's Slayer. This next part takes your head off. Your eyes on it. Yeah, I wish I was dead. An easel of evil, a frame to kill. Hang, hack, slash, kill. An easel of evil, a frame to fill. Hang, hack, slash, kill. Hang, hack, slash, kill. Hang, hack, slash, kill. Hang, hack, slash, kill. And I'm going to get into everything that's going around it here, but this part, the way the music is orchestrated with the hang, hack, slash, kills, I feel like I'm getting stabbed during this part.
Yeah, it's interesting. This part specifically, where the hang, hack, slash, kill was, didn't have any vocals. And this is like one of those things where it's like that last moment, Hail Mary, when you're in the studio. And that pattern just sort of came to me because we needed to fill out the part. We felt like it was too much of an instrumental part. And then that became its own hook, which has become, to me, one of the more memorable parts of the song. And so then when we laid that part in, we were able to double back and be like, oh man, like let's pull out all the instruments here under this specific part. And then, you know what, let's be even more obnoxious and say hang, hack, slash, kill like another time than you would naturally want to say it. So it's one of those examples of a part where it's like, it turned out to be amazing, but it wasn't its intention from the onset. It was almost like, how do we fill this gap? And it turned into a massive section.
I had to listen to this part, I'm not kidding you, probably 35 or 40 times. Just this bridge part. It's insane. There's so much going on. After the line, feast your eyes on it. After on it, we get a like this guitar lick lead by itself. It's panned left and right. It's kind of detuned. And then we get this cartoon whistle. It's like the old banana peel slip and a cartoon.
Yeah.
And then it goes back into a halftime band assault. And we get this, while that's happening for that one bar, it's just this guttural scream into a woman speaking, whispering, I wished I was dead.
I mean, we're just sick people. I guess that's the point.
It's so cool. It's such a great dynamic there.
Thanks, man. And that specific part, I Wish I Was Dead, is actually a sample from the first movie. Victoria Hayes, the character, says that line, and it's so funny because this actress, who's a beautiful girl, great actress, becomes one of the most disgusting monsters you've ever seen, especially when you see her character and what happens to her in Terrifier 3. So it was also just fun because this is the first time we've ever done a song officially for one of these films that we love. Often it's just, us just doing it and hoping we don't get sued or something. But this one, we had the license to be able to go to Damien and say, is it okay if we use this line from the song? And Paul Wiley, is it okay if we homage this piece of music? So we really had fun with that.
Well, I'll use the term cinematic again. This sounds like I'm listening to a movie score. This next part, after it is spoken, or whispered, excuse me, I wished I was dead. We get this dun dun, the whole band with this synth noise, kind of right and left, and then followed immediately by another jun jun with the noise panned right and left, and then we get one ting of like a ride bell. This ting, and then it gets into the next lyrics with the band just going halftime, that super heavy, sludgy feel that the band is rocking away, and we get an easel of evil, a frame to fill, hang hack slash kill, an easel of evil, a frame to kill, hang hack slash kill. And on the hang hack slash kill lines, it's kind of growled, and I put Deicide in here. Deicide sometimes uses that devil voice where it's super high, it's like pitched up. I hear that on these lines. And on the hang hack slash kill, that's kind of like a gang vocals that are happening.
It's funny, just to interject, it's funny that you mentioned Deicide, because I was wearing a Deicide shirt a couple days ago when I was coming home from a horror convention in New Mexico. And not one, not two, but three people that day stopped me to talk about the shirt. And the one that was the most funny was because I was in this fancy sushi restaurant in LA, Nobu.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this guy came over. He's like, man, you Deicide? I love that you're wearing the Deicide shirt in Nobu, man. That is fucking badass. Anyway, I just thought that was funny that you mentioned Deicide.
Yeah, that Glenn Benton uses that. It sounds like Linda Blair is being hacked to death, like that satanic, like high pitched scream. It's unreal. We got three more hang hack slash kills here. This first one, that monster vocal. The second one is a gang vocal, and then we take a little trip to Miami, Spencer, for 3 bars of funk, bass, and party noise. Then we get into this crazy double bass drumming that's locked in with the guitars and bass. And then on the line, hang hack slash kill. There's screams under that line as well. We get 2 bars of ragtime piano and a scream. That part's insane.
Again, this is a part, and I don't know how many bands approach music like this. We were thinking about what we were going to do for this music video. We knew from the onset that this video, we wanted it to be at an Ice Nine Kill show. And in fact, a lot of the inspiration for the idea for the video of it taking place at an Ice Nine Kill show is from Ace Ventura when Cannibal Corpse is playing. And I thought that the way that I thought of this, and I actually pitched the idea to Damien, is like, you think about when Jim Carrey is jumping around the show and doing these old fashioned dance moves while Cannibal Corpse is playing, that really informs some of these decisions about putting that slap bass part, knowing that we wanted to get Chavo in the video, and it's like, okay, well, what's the plot device for all of a sudden this is happening? Chavo is basic, or sorry, Joe, our bassist, is killed, replaced by Art the Clown jamming, and then that's how Chavo comes up and finishes the song. The ragtime piano, as I said, Joe was in this great band called the Venetia Fair, and that was one of his signature moves, like that, just slamming on the piano. And, that's how that part came about, knowing that we wanted Art to have the Ray Charles Manson glasses, as we call it, Ray Charles Manson glasses.
And speaking of the video, music video, you got to go check it out. It's 15 minutes long. It features David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, and it also features Chavo from System of a Down. And then after the ragtime piano and scream, we get 8 bars of that locked-in machine gun snare fill that's locked in with the stereo guitars and bass. Another octave guitar and new synth sounds are all swirling there. And then we get into the last hang, hack, / kill. There's screams also happening during that gang vocal. And then we get a big drum fill where you say the art of, and then we go into the third full chorus, chorus 4.
Death by
Dying brings me to life. Death by design. And this is broke down just like the intro here. We go back just to the synths and just to the vocal for those first 2 lines. And then we get a big full band modulation, okay? With this big drum fill. Now we're up a key, man. We went from C minor to D minor. I love it. You know, I'm a sucker for a key change. Less Than Jake's done a bunch of it. I don't get too many songs out of the 300 episodes or whatever I've done on the show. Haven't had that many key changes. I absolutely love this. Let's talk about that a little bit. Why'd you go up here?
Well, that's really funny you brought up this part. You know this, as a songwriter and someone who's worked with producers, sometimes you got to take that leap of faith with someone that you trust. And, I remember it was myself, Joe, and Drew in the room. And at first I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. This seems too wild because I always like key changes from other bands, but I could never get myself around that it might not work for us. And it took me a while, and then it just sort of clicked. And this is epic. And I'm so glad that we ended up doing it. So I was definitely proven wrong on this.
That modulation, though, as chaotic as it is, that full band, I don't know if it's a bar or two before it fully goes up a key. That part, it doesn't make it just like, you know how some songs go, it just goes in the next key chain. It doesn't have any modulation, It just goes, and you can really hear it. To the casual listener, this isn't like, oh my God, they went up a key. I mean, I knew you did, but it doesn't... It doesn't make the song feel less heavy. It doesn't cheese it up. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, and I'm glad that we ended up doing it. And I think if you watch the music video for it, there's this. It sort of is a great send off because Art basically mauls us down with a Gatling gun, and it just seems like a key change fits that moment for me.
No, it's great, and when the chorus 4 repeats here, dying brings me to life. We get a new vocal. I'm dying. I also notice here, Spencer, the synths are nice and loud here. They seem like, because I went back and A-beat them with the other choruses, they seem like they're louder here. It's kind of, giving this just a little bit more because it's the last chorus of the song. On the stutter of Tongue-Tied and You're Terrified now, we get that guitar harmonic noise again. And on the last line, I'm tongue-tied and you're terrified. That fied is held out, and we get that guitar noise again. Right, left, and then da-na-na-na-na-na-na, go. The go comes back. You went back to it, man. It's so cool that ends the song. We get 2 more bars of the NoFX punk, and then it goes into da, 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 da. It's a vocal and the band doing that. And to me, it's 5 more chops and hacks, and Art's done with his job, and that's how the song ends.
That's what we're going for, man. We wanted you to feel like you were, at the business end of his murder stick or whatever you would.
Dude, I got audio assaulted from this song. I'm hurt.
Well, I'm so glad that had that effect on you. That's exactly what we're going for. And adding parts to the last chorus, that's just, again, trying to learn and be a little, have a little bit more restraint and not throwing everything at the kitchen sink into the first chorus. Let's let the third chorus be something else. And again, with a song that's this chaotic, you mentioning the no effects kind of octave part again, having those little hooks return to me is something that's very important. Especially in a song that is so wild, you need those little parts to have your ears be like, okay, that I remember.
Right. Well, you go, I mean, as we talk, and every time I speak to you, you'd be like, oh, and you'll just throw out this other reference. Oh, there was this film. I don't know how you get anything done with what's swirling in your head. I thought I was insane. I mean, I talked to you, you're totally level-headed. You're all there mentally, but man, you got a lot going on. And this song is every time I hear one of your songs, a new one, I think it's better than the last one, man. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, man. And with that last statement about me being sane, my psychiatrist might disagree with you, but I'm gonna tell her you said that.
No, I mean, there's a lot. Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Because I feel that way sometimes. I'll get down to writing a song, and I'll have so much on my mind, and I'll be writing lyrics, and I'll forget a word, and I'll get frustrated, and everything's swirling, and I feel overwhelmed. Do you ever get that feeling, especially with doing productions like this? There's a lot going on here.
Absolutely, man. And I think every artist does. In this particular song, I think where I became overwhelmed is when the song was a completely different song, and it was very chaotic the entire way through. It was really very interesting, but it just didn't seem like it was special enough to stand up to the movie and how great the Terrifier franchise is. So that's when I got sort of overwhelmed, and I kind of took a different approach and wrote this melody that I thought might be a new chorus for this other version I was referring to. The no one makes it out alive, but that ended up just being a verse for a completely different idea. And I remember sitting there in the studio with Drew being like, I don't know, man, like, listen to this other idea I have. And we had spent, like, I want to say, like, a whole week in the studio working on this other version. And he said, dude, let's just chase this for now. If you got something that's cooking, let's chase it. And then the rest of the process really wasn't overwhelming anymore. Of course, there were some, roadblocks and things to overcome. Like I had mentioned, that the breakdown took a little finagling. But from there on out, it was pretty much smooth, smooth hailing or sailing.
All right, Spencer. Well, listen, this song lives up to its title. It is a work of art. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to see your next song, your next video. I know it's going to be amazing. And speaking of that, what do you have coming up next for Ice Nine Kills?
Well, thank you for saying that. And for anyone who's out there listening, make sure you check out the video for a work of art, because there's, not only insane direction by our guy Jensen, but this guy, Chris Nelson, who's like a special effects master, who did, some of the kills in Kill Bill, like when the person is hacked in half, and we actually repeat that very kill in the video. So check that out. As far as what's coming up, we have dropped a new song and video. It came out on October 9th, called The Laugh Track. And it's a really, really cool music video and homage to Batman 1989. We've got some amazing cameos in it from Terry Kaiser, who's, of course, Bernie Lomax from Weekend at Bernie's, Phil Morris, who played Jackie Childs on Seinfeld, and Matthew Lillard, the icon himself, playing himself. And it's a really fun song. And if you like work of art, check out The Laugh Track. I think you'll love it.
Love it. See you next time, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man. Anytime.
So join the parade, turn that frown upside down. While you're screaming in pain, I'll be laughing out loud, singing, God can't save us. God can't save us. Shout on, yeah!
The song you're hearing is The Laugh Track from Ice Nine Kills. That is my vote of best chorus of 2025. Spencer had sent us the music video and the song before it was out. It's out now. You got to go watch the music video for it. It's crazy. It is crazy. I've been obsessed with this song ever since. But anyway, don't go anywhere. We got lots more Krista Makes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
It's okay not to be perfect with finances. Experian is your big financial friend and here to help. Did you know you can get matched with credit cards on the app? Some cards are labeled no ding decline, which means if you're not approved, they won't hurt your credit scores. Download the Experian app for free today. Applying for no ding decline cards won't hurt your credit scores if you aren't initially approved. Initial approval will result in a hard inquiry, which may impact your credit scores.
Wayfair's big sale is returning. Get ready for Way Day. For 4 days only, score up to 80% off all things home with free shipping on everything. From October 26th through 29th, score Wayfair's best deals, like up to 80% off area rugs, up to 60% off mattresses, up to 60% off bedroom furniture, and more exclusive doorbuster deals. So mark your calendar and shop Way Day starting October 26th at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Hey, I'm Chris Fafalius, producer of Krista Makes a Podcast, and also host of One Hit Thunder. Each week on the One Hit Thunder podcast, we take a look into a one-hit wonder band or artist to determine if they deserved more success or if they were lucky to even have a hit at all. We've covered When in Rome, Jaquan, Shanice, Yellow, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Jesus Jones, Positive K, Mazzy Star, and hundreds more. With new episodes every Wednesday and special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we always have nonstop fun, and maybe, if we're lucky, we discover some new favorite music. So if you love great songs and you often find yourself asking, whatever happened to that band? Check out One Hit Thunder wherever you get your podcasts.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Krista Makes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is the Hollow Truths from Maryland. This is one of the funnier submissions I've come across in terms of how a band describes themselves. It's hard rock with some potential accessibility to contemporary listeners. And if that's too boring a description, the song's about microdosing LSD and pondering life's ambitions. Okay then, here's a snippet of their song, Acid in My Coffee.
Cause I got all this energy stuck inside of me. I put a little acid in my coffee. The raw ambition is a prison. I got fuel but no ignition. It's been this way since I was 16. Can't get it out of gear, always stuck between riding the bench or making the team, accepting defeat or chasing a dream.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
You know, Chris, you guys had a conversation towards the beginning of the episode about songs that had a movie tie-in with a horror movie. And I was a little bit disappointed that no one brought up Bobby Brown's On Our Own from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack.
You and I have talked about
we sure have.
On Our Own from Bobby Brown. Yeah. Jeez. When you told me that Spencer was going to come on again and he was going to be our Halloween episode this year, I got to be honest with you. My first thought was, oh no, because arguably, probably the hardest band to break down for me. Would you agree? This is insane.
When I was getting you the notes ready for it, I think I texted you and I'm sorry in advance for what you're going to have to do in preparation for this, but I'll do my best to get you all the notes you need ahead of time.
Yeah, I'll toot my horn here a little bit. I've gotten pretty good at digesting songs on a couple listens, and I can get a feel for your typical rock song, but this is anything but typical, Chris.
It's so interesting listening to Spencer talk about his songwriting process, because I believe he's the only guest that we've had, and you've said it so many times, they're very theatrical. Well, he's actually thinking about the music video for the song when he's writing the song.
Nobody does that anymore. Nobody thinks about the music. I mean, I say nobody. Not many bands, but they have to, right? They're a visual band.
That's so cool. They're simultaneously... Of course, you could listen to this song and be like, oh my God, all these things are going on, but also they're a visual band. Yeah. So he's thinking about these things before, I'm sure way before they even have the wheels in motion to make the music video.
Yeah. I said it at the end. I tried to say it nicely. I know how my head as a songwriter works. I get overwhelmed, but I mean, think of the tangents he goes off when he's talking. Oh, this part. Yeah, well, I was thinking about this movie, and there's this one part in the scene, and I wanted to get that in the song somehow. I'm like, what is going on? It's such a great approach.
I know you've never seen a Terrifier movie. These things are the most ultra violent, ultra gory movies, and I thought this might come up in the episode. That Terrifier 3 that this song is in, and, they have this direct thing between him and, I think the guy's name's Damien, the director of it. It's one of the biggest independent movies ever. People love the gore slasher movies, and it's huge, and it's so cool that Spencer and Ice Nine Kills are involved in this. It's just like a perfect mashup of worlds.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. And I had it in my notes here to talk about in the wrap with you, Chris, because this film, Terrifier 3, grossed $89.2 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing unrated film of all time and the most profitable movie of 2024, achieving a massive return on a $2 million budget.
Wow.
Bands, unless they knew back in the day, like this is a Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, whatever feature flick, it's going to be huge. You're going to get your band's song in it. But a lot of times bands would give a live version or of a hit or a throwaway song or something to a soundtrack. But he's giving one of his greatest songs to a movie because he knows it's going to blow up and be great, right?
I think it's so cool, too, as you talk to Spencer, he is an enthusiast. He's a historian of horror movies. And
yes.
Think about it. The first time we had him on here was for a Nightmare on Elm Street themed song. And if you think about Dokken doing the song for Dream Warriors, the fourth Nightmare on Elm Street, now in this year, last year, whatever, Spencer is doing that for one of the biggest horror movies. Like that's so cool.
Right. And no knock on Dokken or Alice Cooper or any of the bands that, were in horror movies that preceded Ice Nine Kills. But this is a completely different approach. Those bands were, again, on a label. Hey, there's this, new Wes Craven flick that's coming out. You want to be in it? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, we'll write a song for it. But, this is just the melding of two worlds here. And I hope I didn't sound too frantic combing through this song. The song itself is frantic. I was overwhelmed. My notes here look like an encyclopedia. I mean, it's insane because there was so much here. I think the most interesting part of this song, outside of all the insanity around it, is these choruses. They really dialed these choruses in to have something for what I call the casual listener to sink their teeth into around this chaos.
I think it makes the song so much better and so much more cohesive when you have a place to you land there, you know, and then it's like, okay, it's almost like you can catch your breath for a second and you can comprehend the song on a first listen or something. And it makes the chaotic nature of the song make a lot more sense. You'll hear bands that never return to something and they're nonstop chaos without a landing point, to me, is just chaos. Whereas this is an actual song. This ends up being a song.
Yeah, it's a little bit of controlled chaos within the insanity of the rest of it. And, he just keeps pushing what I consider the envelope. I try not to be too patronizing towards him when I have him on here. I just think he's fantastic. And to tell you the kind of person that he is, before we move on here, Chris, I got to get this in. I was telling you before we started rolling here that one of my friends, her son, he's 18 years old, biggest Ice Nine Kills fan ever. finds out that I'm friends with Spencer, loses his mind, contacts me. I get him tickets to the Orlando show like a year ago. And I was telling you this a little bit ago. This guy is so cool. My friend's son gets there, and he thinks he's just getting a ticket, because that's all I told Spencer. I said, just one ticket for this kid. He's handed an envelope, and in the envelope, there is pre-show meet and greet passes that he walks back, asks some security guard what's going on, and he goes back, and he said Spencer rolled out the red carpet. There was, bottles of water and some refreshments back there. They hung out, gave him the time of day, had nice things to say about me, which made my friend's son think I'm the biggest thing since sliced bread. So he's just a stand-up guy, and I think it's so cool where his career's going.
It is so cool, man. He is like such a cool guy, and he sings a lot of songs about like these violent things, horror movies, but it's all in good fun that there's like a sweet guy underneath all of that. I love that. It's almost like Matt Skiba sings about all this dark stuff, and then you meet the guy and he's just like a sweet guy. I think that's really cool. And man, beauty's in the eye of the beheader, like Spencer says, right?
It certainly is. And this is something a little less gory, but it's just as fun. Head over to chrisdemakes.com. That's where our Patreon's at. And you can sign up and help us keep the lights on here at Chris DeMakes a Podcast. We'll give you bonus episodes of the after party where Chris and I will further talk your ear off, and people seem to love it. chrisdemakes.com. And please keep those 5-star Apple reviews coming. I know you got one for us, Chris, and hopefully they have a crazy handle I can make fun of.
I do. 5-star reviews are what we're looking for. And yes, Apple Podcasts, you can write a review. But today, actually, Chris, once in a while, I like to go over to Spotify, where you can also leave a 5-star review and you can comment on specific episodes. And I grabbed a comment today.
Let's hear it.
This one's from Tasty Soup. So
Tasty.
You can make fun of the name. What do you think the tastiest soup is, Chris?
That's interesting. I love soup, but in my life, I'm gonna throw this question to you. I absolutely love soup, and it's a winter staple for me. I love a nice hearty bowl of soup when I'm cold. But I think I've had more crappy bowls of soup in my life than great cups. How about you?
Oh man, I'm very sad for you that you haven't had more good soup.
Yeah, I eat a lot on the road, a lot of truck stop diners. Give me the chicken noodle, and it's just watery or salty, and it's just crappy, and yeah. But every once in a while, you'll get that loaded potato cheddar or broccoli cheese soup that just knocks your socks off. So
I'm a big fan of a classic can of Campbell's tomato soup. Dip a grilled cheese in that thing. Damn, is it good. So Tasty Soup is that's what we're getting to. That's who wrote this comment. And they wrote it on not the actual original episode, but I do these Throwback Thursday episodes every week where I re-drop into our feed an episode from the past. Well, this one came on the Throwback Thursday episode with Scott and Aaron from Real Big Fish talking about Sellout. And Tasty Soup said, "This was my first episode of Chris DeMakes a Podcast I'd listened to. And I've never looked back. One of my favorite podcasts."
Well, thank you very much, Tasty Soup. It was very nice.
It is very nice.
It was very short and succinct and to the point, but keep those Apple and Spotify reviews coming. We love it. We love to say your name over the airwaves, even if it's silly like Tasty Soup. And I want to thank our three-peater. That's right. Back for the third time this time, Spencer Charnas from Ice 9 Kills. And we'll see you next week.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They called the Ghostbusters and the in control. Had a throwing party for a bunch of children. Well, all the while the slime was under the building. So they packed up their group, got a grip, came equipped, grabbed their proton packs off the back, then they split. Found out about Vigo, the master of evil. Trying to battle my boys? That's not legal. They're in control. You know it.
If you're a band, artist, record label, or business looking to get your message out to a passionate audience of music lovers, consider advertising on Chris DeMakes a Podcast. We'd love to help you connect with our listeners in a meaningful and authentic way. Just drop a line to my producer, Chris Fafalius, at chrisfafalius@gmail.com. That's Chris, Fafalios @gmail.com. If our listener base sounds like it might be a good fit for you, Reach out and we can talk rates and discuss the best way to effectively get your message across.
Hey everybody, Satan here. I know what you're thinking. Jesus Christ, Satan has a podcast now too? No, that's not it. But I am here to tell you about a podcast, and it's one that's all about my favorite band, Punchline. Not the band you expected me to say, right? You probably figured I'd like Slayer, or maybe some backwards Beatles records or something. Those are okay. But you usually find me rocking out to fan-favorite Punchline albums like Action or Lion while I'm torturing dead people for all of eternity. Punchline's podcast is called A Band Called Punchline, and it's super entertaining to listen to this documentary-style look back at the 25 years of my favorite band. Honestly, I'm really feeling like I'm getting to know these guys, and their story is amazing. I'm so ready for them to get down here. I have so many questions. I gotta give them credit for catching on to my whole 37 thing, too. There's a reason why they're my favorite band, and if you listen to their podcast, they might become yours, too. A Band Called Punchline is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Check it out, and I'll see you all in hell.
Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.